Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Bernadette and I'm a wedding and creative business consultant. I've been in business myself in the wedding industry since 2002 and have owned multiple businesses. Over the years, I've trained over 1,000 wedding planners and mentored hundreds and hundreds of business owners, both in the wedding and the creative sector. Now, one of the things about me, despite the fact that I own all of these businesses, is that I am an introvert. And for me, networking has been a little bit of a struggle, and it's something that I have learned to overcome. Because for me, attending a networking event or any kind of soiree would most definitely be out of my comfort zone. So I'd love to ask you, if you were invited to attend an event, what's your initial reaction? So I'm talking networking meetings, even soirees, masterclasses, even retreats. Do you stride into that room confidently? Or do you sneak in and walk around the edges, only talking to those that you already know? Are you eyeing out the exits and looking at your watch thinking what time is actually suitable for me to leave? Honestly, networking as an introvert has been a struggle. All too often, I would say yes to the most amazing events at the Savoy, Claridge's, the Ritz. But then at the very last minute, I'd change my mind and I wouldn't go because fear got in the way. I just became so anxious that I wouldn't attend. Yet I could get on stage and talk to hundreds of people at a time. I've been interviewed live TV, recorded TV, live radio, done Facebook Lives. But the thought of attending a networking event in no matter what form would make me so anxious. And that's crazy, right? So I learned how to manage that. I learned how to become more confident. And this is something I've done throughout my whole entrepreneurial career, by the way, is I have seen a struggle and then I've thought, okay, how can I change that? How can I make it different? And so that's what I want to share with you today. When I would attend events, I would be so nervous that I would quite often have to arrive with somebody. I wouldn't stay with that person, but I would have to arrive with them so I could walk in with them. I would be looking at the exits and I would be looking at the schedule thinking, when can I leave? But after 21 years in business, I think I've mastered it somewhat. So how is it that you can overcome a lack of confidence and network like a pro? This is what I'm going to talk to you about today. Before I do though, have you subscribed yet? If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. I'd love you to support my small YouTube channel. Okay, if you experience anxiety at the thought of attending any networking, then read on or listen on, should I say, for some tips to help you overcome your anxiety. I want you to be able to attend events confident, self-assured. I want you to ooze strength when you walk into that room. Maybe I might even see you at one of my own events. I would love that. So firstly, it's going to be no surprise that I say be strategic and go with a plan. What do you want to get out of the networking? Is it instant referrals or building relationships for the future? What is your purpose? Are you going to be, is it that you want to meet someone specifically or learning more about a sector? At the UKWP, I would hold yearly mix and mingle soirees. So these were evening celebrations, open not just to members, but across the whole wedding industry. And I would have people attending that wanted to learn more about wedding planning and our courses. I would have those that want to become members. But the vast majority were people that wanted to connect with highly successful wedding planners. And they knew our event was the one place to do this. The turnout was always huge and was such a wonderful buzz, both before the event and during and after. So if I can host events like that and network throughout, you most definitely can as well. So the first thing I want to say to you is go armed with an introduction as to what it is you do. I know it sounds obvious, but if someone asks you, what do you do? Be confident, clear and concise as to what you do. Be proud, be excited, don't gloss over it. But at the same time, this isn't an essay for you to read. You know, this is supposed to be like, not necessarily an elevator pitch, but it is supposed to be a snippet into what you do. If you're not excited about your business, no one else is going to be excited, are they? So think about, what is it that you want to say in just a few sentences. If you're nervous, take a buddy with you. But remember, the whole point is meeting new people, not standing by your friends, no matter how tempting or comforting that may be. Be selective with which events to attend. In the early days, it can be oh so easy to say yes to every single event that you've been invited to. But are the attendees the right type of attendees, either as potential clients or industry peers? For example, as a working mum, 3 children, and for many years, I would have a baby and a toddler whilst juggling 2 businesses. I would always turn down breakfast meetings because trying to organise childcare that early in the morning would be a nightmare. And frankly, who wants to be travelling at that time in the morning to get to a meeting as well? And the attendees would always be, or generally speaking, would be corporate business owners. That's not my niche. It didn't make sense. Yes, if you're an accountant, it makes sense for you to attend those meetings. For me, it didn't. So be sure that what you're attending is right for you. That either is filled with potential clients or is filled with people that are going to increase your network, people that will help you get to that next level, because your network is so important. Okay, the next tip is know what you want to ask. So have you ever been in that situation where you just get tongue-tied, you don't know what to say, and you stumble or you stutter? I remember like years ago, a wedding planner saying to me, oh, I don't take a questionnaire to an initial meeting. I just chat with them. And I'm like, how can you do that? Because I'd completely go off track. So take some icebreaker questions with you so you can get to know the attendees. Don't be standing there for half an hour firing questions like they're at a job interview, but do ask them, 2 to 3 questions before you move on to the next person. Any little antidotes that you can mention. So for example, let's say you meet somebody and they talk about their holiday. Make a note of that in your contacts. So the person, ideally a photo of them as well, what their business is, and then the date of when you met them and what they spoke about. So then the next time you meet them, oh, how was your holiday to Mexico? Or you reach out on social media, a month later, just touching base, seeing how you are. How was your holiday? Things like this keep the conversation going and keeps it personal. People are more likely to remember you if you do that. So any questions that you have, keep open-ended and actively listen to what their answers are. Don't just be like, oh, now I'm going to ask the next question, the next question. I've got some examples for you. I'll read them out, but if you click the link at the bottom of this YouTube video, it will take you straight over to the blog article where I've got this all written out for you. So don't worry too much if you don't want to take notes, because you can just pop over and read my blog. Okay, if you had a magic wand, what is the one thing that you would change about your business or the industry? Can you tell me a little bit about your business? What motivated you to get into wedding photography? What made you decide to attend this event today? Who do you think I should talk to? What do you like to do outside of work? Just ask a couple of questions, get to know them. Bonus, take a selfie. Tag them on social media, because they're likely to then tag you as well. And then that's a reminder for them to follow you if you followed them as well. I just want to read a little quote for you from someone called Lydia Tennant. I'm reading her book right now, actually. There is a wealth of great people out there. Don't you dare miss out on them. Network or die. Perhaps a little extreme, but you get the gist. And be personal. Remember to be you. So yes, be professional, but be natural, be friendly, be approachable. Remember the like, know, and trust factor. You're trying to see if they're a good fit either as a client or to collaborate with or to recommend you to their network. They're trying to see if you're a person that they can work with, whether they're happy to refer you. Remember that stories connect people, so don't just talk business. I'm so wonderful. This is what I've achieved. Look at my portfolio. No one wants to talk to somebody like that, do they? Let's be honest. Open up, share any backstories, find the antidotes. It is these stories that make you memorable, not your portfolio. As an example, I've spoken about this many times before, how a majority of my clients are doggy people. And so they always connect with me on that. And then if I see that they've got dogs, you can bet I'm going to be asking them about their dogs as well. It's just a conversation starter. Focus more on them and less on their business. So the focus here is building a network so it works for you. Don't forget to mingle. I see you introverts hugging the outside of the room. Trust me, been there, done that. But put your brave face on, set yourself a target of meeting X number of people before you leave. Do your research and try and find out who's attending. Get an insight into who they are as individuals. Then weave this into the conversation. I know it sounds a bit stalkerish, but this ensures that you are being intentional with your time, that you attend this event, that you know who it is that you want to connect with, and you already know some things about them and some stories that you might be sharing. You wouldn't go to a job interview without doing your research first, and it's no different. Whenever I hosted a UKWP event, we would have a specific hashtag. And this would mean that the excitement would build, guests were making their way to the event. People would be sharing selfies while they're on the train, using our hashtag. And that meant everyone was keeping an eye on that, replying to each other. And it meant me as the organizer could see who was coming. And it meant that I could do a better research as to who they are before I actually meet them on the day as well. Okay, get there early. It can be tempting to arrive late, so you can just sneak in. But actually, if you get there early, walk in with someone, you can begin to connect with people straight away. Arriving late when people have already made those connections or in deep conversations can be so intimidating. Now, don't be afraid to talk to the organizer. Ask them to introduce you to somebody. Explain that you're a little bit nervous. They will then introduce you to somebody to kind of get the ball rolling. People used to do this to me all the time, which I know is ironic. So as an introvert that doesn't like attending events, I was the host, I was the leader. So of course people would come to me, chat to me, and then say, I don't know anybody. And so I'd be like, that's okay. Let me introduce you to, normally it would be, let me introduce you to one of my members. And then I would take them to one of my members. Now, this had dual purposes, to be honest. One, it gave them somebody nice and friendly, because all my members were amazing, that they could talk to, but also it gave them a chance to see how amazing my members are. So you can bet it would be on their plan to then join the alliance, because we were a family. So any true leader is going to connect you with like-minded attendees. It's part of their role. They're facilitating the networking. So don't be afraid to do that. They won't bite, I promise. Don't forget to listen. No one wants to be stuck with that person that drones on and on and on about themselves. Remember to take pauses, ask questions, and most importantly, listen to them. Don't be afraid to let the quiet moments extend, so that you can truly listen. It's a bit of a skill, because it can be so tempting just to jump in, but sometimes you need to allow that gap to extend, and then the person will expand on it. So it can be really powerful if you are able to do that. Also, actually, just as a little kind of snippet, be positive as well. So just like we don't want to listen to that person that drones on and on and on and on about themselves, we also don't want to be stuck with that person Who is a negative Nancy? Do we? No offense to any Nancys out there. So be positive, be enthusiastic. Remember your energy. So for introverts, don't forget to schedule some quiet time after the event so you can recharge. Recognize that this is important for you to focus energetically the next day. Don't attend 2 events in one day unless you're an extrovert. And if the event is an all-day event, take a walk outside at lunch so that you've got more energy at lunchtime, or go and sit in the toilets for 5 minutes just to kind of catch your breath for a minute. It's actually very important for introverts to be able to do that. So those are my top tips on how you can network with more confidence, especially if you are an introvert. So do you have some tips that you would love to share with me? If so, pop them down in the comments below or tag me on social media at Bernadette Chapman. I would love to see how it is that you cope with your networking, especially if you are an introvert. So finally, thank you for joining me here today and listening to my short training session. You can read the article over on my blog. And also, just a reminder, if you can hit subscribe and support my small channel, I would really appreciate it. Until next time, take care, lots of love, bye.